This demonstration outside of Silent Sam went up in smoke, and some fired up demonstrators ended the night in handcuffs. Get back! Get back! This powder keg of emotions sparked when a small group of Confederate flag bearers, protected by police.
Billy Norse has been spending his weekends chasing kids, and his Mondays and Tuesdays, any day he's been able to for the last 2 months, preparing to break a very specific record.
The record's a mouthful. It's pushing fastest half marathon, pushing 2 strollers with 2 kids in each stroller at the same time.
Some people pick up cooking as a hobby, but for Chef Joe Randall, it's his life's work. It all started working for his uncle as a teenager.
He gave me a tease for the business, so to speak, and I found out later I was cheap labor.
Anything could happen, anything. And I was ready to just protect my family. And if something happened to me, it should be only me.
He had a pregnant wife and small children.
The hardest part when my wife was pregnant. And I never know what will happen next.
The change is happening, and for it to happen there in that way, and for me to be able to participate in that and to share the work that I'd done that many years ago was incredible.
Could this be the beginning of more discussions to change how we see ourselves and promote unity among all races? Dr. Berry sure hopes it does.
PNC Arena increases security measures, adding a K-9 unit at the Chainsmokers concert following the terrorist attack in Manchester. I'm Spectrum News reporter Ryan Breslin, and coming up, how fans say they won't let fear upstage their night.
Dawn, devastating is not even the word for what happened tonight. I'm actually standing right now in front of what used to be a home. As you can see, this yard is just filled with debris. Just walking through it, the remnants of the home are everywhere. Still a few people who have lived in this neighborhood long enough to remember the Kaya house. Some people remember what every single room in this house looked like, and they say this history needs to be preserved.
They spent 11 seasons together. Both head coaches had a press conference together on Sunday. Here's a little bit of what they had to say ahead of this big matchup.
It really felt like a celebration as soon as the doors opened and the polls closed around 7 o'clock tonight, and really, it still feels like a celebration here in Atlanta. We are, of course, at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, Jake, yeah, you also just watched that conference, and during it, Sheriff William Bowman did not take any questions from the media following a 10-minute press conference.
It's hard to say right now. You can see some crews working behind me. Now, when I spoke with workers from Canucci Electric, they said a couple hundred people are without power.
First responders have been working nonstop since a tornado tore through this community last night. Homes everywhere are destroyed, and the community is picking up the pieces.
We are recording one of the soundtrack songs that's going to be used for a major montage scene in the movie A Polished Soul. It is the last of a trilogy of collections involved with my autobiography, my documentary, and now the last project is the biopic, which is an actual full-length, full-feature movie. For some reason, I felt it in my heart that I had to get ready to come back home because I knew I was coming back home and I knew what I wanted to do. And I told everybody when I was in there, this is what I'm going to do when I come home. In 1991, I was facing the death penalty plus life plus 60 years. Stayed in jail for 3 years waiting for trial. And in order to escape the death penalty, I took a plea bargain for life and ended up doing 17 and a half years in the North Carolina Department of Corrections. Coming back from prison and coming back into society after 17 and a half years was a huge adjustment. And one of the things that I would like to encourage other people that are transitioning from such place, because my message doesn't just still ring in the community, it rings back into the prisons, because not only did I come from it, but I was resilient enough to overcome it and come to a bigger place in my life.
Some people will call it a redemption story. I call it a real story. And I just saw the vision, and from there I saw Mike stretching a small investment into having all these people flying in, being on this set, and I'm just like, what this guy did with a small investment is incredible.
When I was in there with these young guys, I would try to tell them my story and tell them, how they could avoid this, they could pick themselves back up. And I saw myself attached to that. So there's a lot of us, such as myself, that went in and did all this prison time to take the sting out of incarceration and come back and let you know that you don't have to go through it because we already went through it for you.
I kind of turned my garage into a shop to make desks for students who are going to be doing online learning. Like a lot of Wake County teachers, you know, we're in it for the kids, and you know, it's a business, but at the same time, you know, it's a business that I know about. You know, I know what kids need to be successful, and a place to study is one of those things.
Being school teachers, the idea that their desks and kids can sit here and have a place to work and a place to think and a place to figure things out is pretty awesome, because having a good place to study in your home is a really good start to being successful.
Place to study is crucial, you know, and especially when you don't have the structure of being in the classroom. If you don't have the classroom structure to have a place to go that's your study place, that makes a difference.
I like to think kids have been benefiting from the labor we've been putting in for 2 decades now. I guess this is just a little bit of a different way.
I love the idea that a parent would call me up and say, hey, look, my kid is a good student, but I really need I need a place for him to study. Can you help me out? You know, I'm a teacher doing this. I'm not a professional woodworker. I'm just a teacher, you know, and I'm doing my best, and I hope so far everybody's been real happy.